Oh yeah, yeah,
Oh, good.
yeah. No, what happened was I was coming as John's +1, and someone canceled at the last minute, and Kim Poplowski was running the band at the time and sent out an email to the trombone guys and said, well, who do I get? And John said, you know, because Ken's from the New York area, and he said, you know everyone to call in New York. But I happened to be traveling with a bass trombone player, and they had not hired a bass trombone. I mean, I'm sure any of the guys could play a hose and make it sound good, but they hadn't hired someone to play bass trombone specifically. They just said, come. So Ken was like, oh, okay. And you know, they could sell another room that way because John and I are rooming together. So I came on and played, and I was so worried about making John look good. You know, it wasn't about me. I just wanted to make sure that because I got hired that way, I didn't want him to look bad for getting his wife on a gig, which I do not like getting gigs for my husband. This is something that we've had long discussions about. I said, do not ever recommend me for a gig unless all the other people you'd recommend you've asked and they can't do it. So it's a huge thing. I have a huge chip on my shoulder about it because I know how people talk. They're going to assume I get on a gig because of John anyway. So, but I want to know I did it the right way. That's a huge thing for me. So we did the first cruise, and I guess it was good enough because they asked me back the second year, and I was officially hired the second year as someone who, you know, as a jazz all-star. And I was like, I'll take it. And they've been hiring me back ever since. And John took over the band for Ken maybe 2 years ago. So I believe, you know, he'll have some say in me getting hired at this point, but I told him if they ever want to hire anyone else, don't you stick up for me. So that's basically, you know, how it goes. And it's been such a treat to be on here and totally geek out with all these people that I don't get a chance to hear play very often. I mean, last year Roy Haynes was on the boat. How awesome is that? And all the people this year, it just seems like every year it gets better, and I can't believe I got to come on and play. Yes, yes. Especially from the kind of stuff that I do in New York. I play with kind of, I don't know if you'd call it modern jazz big band or progressive jazz big band. But the composer calls it himself steampunk jazz big band, you know. So when you go to those gigs, they're also attentive, but it's also much louder. It's much more in your face jazz, and here people, you're thinking a lot more about what's happening. People are conversing more, I feel like. It's not so much about the composition itself, what's written on the page. People are creating the compositions instantaneously, which I feel like they're so appreciative of, the crowds here. And you can feel it. It's such a pleasure to play for that. Because, you know, in New York, you'll be hearing people having entire conversations over someone's solo. They're not really there for the jazz. They might be there for the whole experience, which is fine. We should take that and run with it, because eventually maybe they'll be really into jazz. But at that moment, they're not giving you the respect that you deserve when you're trying to create music for them. So that can be hard, and you just kind of have to turn a blind eye to it. But here it is fabulous. And I've actually been called out by someone in the audience, because a couple of us musicians will get done with whatever we're doing and we'll just go immediately to the first thing we see, and we'll sit there in the back and we're like, yeah. And then someone will come up, hey, I haven't seen you on the cruise yet, and blah, blah, blah. And yep, you get, someone turns around and gives you the stink eye. And you're like, oh, people are actually listening? Yeah. But they're sitting in the farthest seat away from the music, but they want you to be quiet. So, you know, I totally get it. I would never get mad at someone for getting mad at me at talking. I shouldn't be talking, but it's been an experience. Hi, I'm Jennifer Wharton, and for more jazz videos, go to JazzTimes.com.